I just want to tell you right now, I'm honored to be here. I have 3 of my favorite teachers of all time here in the audience tonight. Right? There's 3. How many teachers did I have that are here? 3 of you that were here? Yes, you are all my favorites. Just before I came up here tonight, one of the guests here near the front told me to break a leg. That is a sick thing to say to somebody, isn't it? It's terrible. Even as I was getting out of the van when I was getting dropped off here, my wife told my daughter Kerrigan to tell me to break a leg, and she was like, "Daddy, don't break a leg." It's just a sick thing to say. So since I graduated in 2005, my life is somewhat different. I'm married, I have 3 children, and I have since learned that there are more dumb sayings than break a leg. Some of you already know what this is. One of those sayings I learned was done when I had children of my own. And that is the saying, sleeping like a baby. Because what does it mean? What does sleeping like a baby mean? What does it mean? Sleeps peacefully, restfully, calmly. Babies don't sleep this way. They sleep in short periods. They wake up screaming. It's not what you think, sleeping like a baby. They don't sleep like nice, lying peacefully, calmly. It's not like that. They sleep with their legs up in the air and crossed. Their arms moving sporadically. Sometimes they'll slap themselves while they're sleeping. Wake up! Now, tell me, if you walked into a bedroom and you saw an adult sleeping this way, would you describe them as sleeping like a baby? More likely sleeping like a psychopath. Yeah. It's, sometimes when people have their first children, a lot of people are anxious, concerned, worried. Are they going to be good parents? Are they going to raise their kids right? I wasn't worried about that at all. I am ridiculously overconfident. That's why I'm here, in front of you, not at home, doing anything else. Because I'd rather be here. This isn't going anywhere. But what I'm saying is, I had one concern when I was becoming a parent. And that was that I might do something that made it obvious that I hadn't had enough kids yet. Okay? For example, a friend of mine, first kid, first loose tooth. They were playing catch, and he took a ball to the mouth, and he swallowed the tooth. To the average parent, the tooth is gone. Not these ones. All right, little Jimmy. I'm going to put you back on the training potty for a few days. You got one last chance at this tooth! Yeah, that's a little bit gross one. There's more. Not yet. Yeah, it's, growing up can be tough, it can be difficult. You see, and in my family, we didn't have the problem of there not being enough kids. There was 8 of us, so there was plenty. We didn't have that concern. But as you can imagine, with 8 kids in the family, there wasn't a lot of money going around. It wasn't like we were rolling in wealth or anything. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We spent and we saved and we tried to reuse everything we could. It was basically like growing up in the Great Depression. My mom's thinking, Logan, it wasn't like that. Why do you keep saying that? I said, Mom, I had a collection of candy wrappers. That's 100% true. I couldn't afford not to eat the candies. I needed the calories. So I tried to do my part. I really did in helping the family save money. I probably wasn't very good at it, but there was one thing I was good at, and that was when I recognized that when I was growing up, my feet would grow. And they would grow faster than my shoes would wear out. And so my shoes wouldn't fit, but they were still good. They were still in good condition. And so what I did was rather than get rid of the shoe or give it to my mom to deal with or whatever, I just saved the shoes. And so I have a pile of shoes from child size 6 all the way to adult. Just this heap of shoes that are in, lightly used condition. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with the shoes. And I'm thinking, they say as you age, as you get older, you start to shrink. Maybe I'll be able to fit those shoes again. Let me tell you, I'll be the only 80-year-old with the sweet kicks that light up. If the battery still works, of course. But I'm looking forward to those days, because they don't make them for adults. It's very disappointing. But maybe because the batteries would die before you grew out of them as an adult. And that's why. But yeah, one of the things that I'm sure drove my parents just crazy was that I was a very picky eater. There were lots of things I didn't like. The list is too long to mention. Maybe we should go the other way. I liked pepperoni and saltine crackers. Everything else I didn't like. So I remember one particular time where we were having donuts. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to eat that donut. I'm like, what are you talking about, Logan? Why should you eat the donut? I said, because it's round. But Logan, you were at that birthday party, you had pizza. Well, the pizza might have started out round, but by the time I got it, it was a triangle. So you're saying if we cut the donut, you'll eat it? As long as you don't cut it into little circles, we're good. You say, okay, Logan, well, why wouldn't you eat something that's round? Well, when you think about it, plates are round, and bowls are round, and cups are round. And so when you think about it, you don't eat round things. You eat off round things. And this is a perfectly logical argument for a child. But to be honest, I was building my defense for why I wasn't going to eat peas at dinner that night. There's lots of things I didn't like, and I would do all sorts of things to try not to eat the food. I'd take my silverware and put a big X on the plate, but there was still space around the silverware, so I'd get food on the plate. So I thought, oh, I'm clever. I will flip the plate upside down. You can't put food there. Turns out we wash both sides of the plate. So you can't put food there. So as you can imagine, I had to get rid of this food, and I couldn't eat it. It was Spanish rice. You can't eat it. I'm not racist, I just don't like it. So I had to throw it away. Of course, I get busted trying to throw it away. What do my parents do? They say, hey, Logan, don't throw that food out. There's a starving kid in Africa that would want it. He can have it. Let's just mail it to him. We'll ship it over to him. And I started looking into it. What's it going to cost for me to ship this food to an African kid? Turns out it's very expensive. Because you got to ship it rush too. You got to get it there as quick as possible because he might eat moldy food. But you don't want to be the one that does that to him. And so it was really, really expensive. I started to think, you know what? I could just save up the postage money. And it probably wouldn't be long before I could buy a plane ticket coming the other way. We'll just have an African kid come here and he can eat my leftovers. And when you think about it too, we could get one that wears child size 6 shoes. And he gets shoes all the way to Africa. But turns out that's illegal. We're not allowed to do that kind of thing. It's crazy too. People try to get you to eat stuff, like your parents try to get you to eat stuff that doesn't taste good. And they'll tell you, no, Logan, you gotta try it again because it's an acquired taste. Do you know what an acquired taste is? This is something that the first time you eat it, it tastes bad. But then they're like, no, try it again. You try it again, it still tastes bad. Try it again. Oh, just to see if it's as bad. Yes, it is. It's still just as bad as it was the first time. Escargot, snails. They say this is an acquired taste. I will tell you the origin story of how people started eating escargot. It's a long time ago, big family. Older brother had some buddies over. They were like, what can we do? Well, maybe we could get little Jimmy to eat some snails. The other guy's like, no way, you'll never be able to do it. As soon as he puts the first one, if we can get him to put the first one in his mouth, he'll taste it, it'll be gross, he'll spit it out, and he'll never do it again. But if we tell him it's an acquired taste, we can get him to eat it for the rest of his life. It's still happening. Still happening. But even though we didn't have a lot of money growing up, my parents, it was important for us that we always did a family vacation every year. They weren't always the same as some of my friends' family vacations. I remember one particular summer growing up, I had a friend from a small family, dad was a dentist, and they flew to Paris and they saw the Eiffel Tower and he came back, it was great. And he asked me, hey, look, what did you guys do? Well, we drove through the desert in a black van with no air conditioning, stayed at my cousin's place, toured a chocolate factory, got a free chocolate. He's like, oh man, wish I could have gone on vacation with your family. Chocolate's way better than the Eiffel Tower. But we did get to go to the most stereotypical big family vacation spot of all, which is, of course, Disneyland. Right? Disneyland is great. I love Disneyland. It's so good. But there are problems with Disneyland. I'm only going to address one tonight. That is the It's a Small World ride. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, Southern California is very hot. And the It's a Small World ride, you get on a little boat and go down a stream and into this building, and it's nice and cool inside. So that's good. You get in there, and there's all these puppets singing a song. And the song they sing goes like this. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. And I'm sitting there thinking, are you sure? Pretty sure the guy who wrote this hadn't just driven 2,000 miles in a black van, no AC, crammed with kids. The kind where the windows didn't roll down, but they just popped out the side. So you had to put your hand there and scoop the hot desert air on your face. It was better than what's in the van. Bet you didn't experience that right before writing it. But it is tough. It is tough growing up as a kid because lots of reasons, but one is you don't get the whole story. You're not in control, and you don't know what's going on. I remember growing up, you'd see on TV these ads that would just show a picture of just a totally wrecked car, just smashed. And it would just say, drinking and driving kills. A drinking and driving counterattack. And then I would go to school, and teachers would say, if you ever see an adult or your parents drinking and driving, tell them to stop. And I thought I knew what drinking was, and I thought I knew what driving was. But we were on a road trip in the black van with no AC, and not surprisingly, my dad, who was driving, got thirsty. He said to my mom, I'm getting thirsty. And I assume I had just seen the rest area 20 miles ahead sign that we would pull over in 20 miles at the rest area, and he could have a drink. That's not what happened. My mom put the straw in the juice box, and she started to hand it to my dad, and I said, Dad, no! You cannot drink and drive! He said, Logan, that's not what they're talking about. But he didn't explain it. And no one ever had. So he got a few minutes later. So, it is one of the things, too, that made my particular childhood tough was that I was good at math. Now, you may not understand this, but think about this. In the summertime as a child, what are some of the most magical moments? It's when you're out in the yard, riding bikes or whatever, and you hear the amazing sound of the ice cream truck coming down your street. It's unmistakable. Nobody else plays music like that. It's the ice cream truck. And all the kids run out to go get their Spider-Man popsicles. And I go and I look at the Spider-Man popsicle and I look at the price of the Spider-Man popsicle. And I think, for that price, I could get 24 popsicles at the store. Even with bus fare, I could still get a dozen. But I wasn't allowed to ride the bus by myself, so I never got the popsicles. Another tough part of growing up is that you have to go to school. You have to come to these places against your will for many years. And that's not the hard part. One of the things about being in school is you got classes and all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. But the things also that is a big part of life is popularity. Like this plays a really crazy amount of role in your school experience, doesn't it? And at my schools, your math scores were inversely proportional to your popularity. So I wasn't popular. Now also, another thing that seems to tie into your popularity quite a bit was your fashion, the clothes you wear, your hairstyles, these things. And being from a big family, we wore a lot of hand-me-downs. I never had the current fashions. But looking back at photos, I'm quite glad. Because the things that were popular are not popular now. So when I was in elementary school, one of the big styles was the tearaways. Are you familiar with these? If you're between 25 and 35, you're familiar with these. Okay? These are the track pants with snaps all down the side. For the kid who's perpetually late for gym class and he has to get his pants off in a second, he's got all day to put them back on. Snap, 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 snap. Right around the same time, what was popular for guys to do was to put tons of gel in their hair and slick it all forward and then up like a ramp, like a little ski jump for lice. And these kids were the cool kids too, you know, so they'd have a little bit of a head. And they'd dislodge the lice. And they'd just be like, Mikey's got lice now. That's how it was spread, not hats. It was hair. Too much gel. After those styles started going out, in came like the huge, oversized jeans. These were the jeans that guys wore that were just like giant balloon pants. I can't even, like, I'm stretching it, it's not even close to how big they were. They were giant. And they were so big, they were always hanging down. Guys were always walking like this, trying to keep their pants up, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They were always hanging down, their butts were showing. I flipping hate it. I don't care about your Simpson boxers. I want to see that. It's all too real, isn't it? Simpsons boxers are flashing back. It's terrible. And so when the next style started coming in, I was grateful, which was the super tight jeans for guys. And I thought, oh, great. They're going to be tight, they're not going to fall down, I might see all the details, but I'm not going to see the guys' butts anymore. But you know what happened was guys, rather than getting like men's skinny jeans, they would just buy women's jeans. And you may not know this, but women's jeans are cut differently than men's jeans. And so the women's jeans didn't come up all the way. And so they were still not able to keep the jeans up, and their butts were still hanging out. So you had all the disadvantages of women pants and all the disadvantages of fat man pants at the same time. But it didn't get any better. Because in came probably the longest lasting style of any, was the already worn out jeans. Still popular today. These are the ones with rips and tears and scuff marks already on them. Like, what? If I want a pair of ruined jeans, I will buy fresh jeans and wear them out myself. I do not need them letting the sweatshop kids wear them for 2 years first. Don't need that. Like, do we sell anything else this way? Is there anything else at all that we sell this way? I can't think of any. Can you imagine you go to the dealership to buy a car, you're looking at all the shiny cars, you're like, maybe this one. And the dealer comes over and he's like, hey, I got a really cool one to show you. Just come over here. You may have seen it in the drunk driving ads. Come up, yeah, you see the windshield? Totally smashed, but there's still jagged pieces of glass. You can see that the passenger rear side door is completely gone. There's nice rust details all around, even on the top and on the inside. Those are tricky to get. And if you hit the gas, the back axle will fall right off. And get this, it is only 10 grand more. Only 10 grand more. Oh, it's ridiculous. But you know, school eventually ends. For you students here, it does end. And then you get to have the freedom of a full-time job. It's great. I got a full-time job. I was working for a small company in the real estate industry. And my boss was talking about expanding, opening offices in Calgary or Thailand, and sending me to these places to open up these new offices, and everything was great. So one day I was standing outside. It's a little cold out. I put my hands in my pockets. My coworker there was like, "Hey, Logan, get your hands out of your pockets. Don't let the boss see you. He hates that. He hates the hands in the pockets." And I thought, no. This job is going nowhere because I love my pockets. Like, why do you think I'm wearing a suit today? For looks? For pockets? Pants, pockets in the front, pockets in the back. Shirt's got a little pocket in there. Suit coat, pockets on the outside, pockets on the inside. It's everything. It's great. You should see my overcoat. It's pocket heaven. Okay? And so I had to quit that job. I had to quit it. And so I started thinking, okay, well, what else can I do besides measure houses? Well, I could be a phenomenal professional athlete. That's a good job. The greatest NHL goalie ever, that's me. That's what I'm going to be. And I started doing some research. It turns out that 22 years old is a little bit late to start on this path. Most of these professional athletes started doing push-ups as a fetus, and I was a little bit late. And I started to think back, it's like, how did this happen to me? Why am I not a professional athlete? And I thought, well, I'm a fairly athletic guy, I don't understand. And then I started to think back to gym class, and I never liked gym class. And I started to think, well, what do you wear in gym class? Well, you wear shorts, or you wear sweatpants. You know what's wrong with shorts and sweatpants? No pockets! I was thwarted for becoming a professional athlete by gym class apparel. If I had been allowed to stand around gym class like this, I would have been a professional athlete. So sadly, that job was out. So I went to the next most logical step, which was, of course, superhero. Right? That's the only other good job. And it doesn't have any of the problems that the athlete does. You don't need any previous experience, training, or anything of any kind. Bit by a radioactive spider, superhero. Fall in radioactive goo, go blind, superhero. Some of these guys are just aliens, and they don't know it. I could be an alien. There's no big family. One of us could have slipped in. And so I started, taking this pretty seriously and doing a lot of research on it, and I did come across a couple issues. First is the action figure. Now, I love action figures, don't get me wrong, but have you ever seen an action figure walk? Well, they don't move quite the same way as humans. So their arms don't move quite right, but their legs, instead of going like forward and backward, when they go forward, they kind of like go like this, and then when they go out the back, they just like go right out to the side. And so I thought, there's going to be this kid who thinks I'm this great superhero, but he thinks that I walk like this, and I'm too vain. Too vain for that. But I thought, superhero is too good of a job to lose for something like that. So I started doing some research and started designing my superhero costume. I basically ripped off the Wolverine because he's great. And I started looking at the design of the suit and started to make it, and I realized that the spandex suits are great. They would be so flattering for me. But there was a problem with the spandex suits. No pockets. But there is a super person, not really a hero, that's got this figured out. That's the Hulk. He wears those slick purple jeans. He's got pockets in there. But when he gets angry, he gets all huge and green, and his hands are too big to fit in his pockets. You ever had a pair of jeans like this, where your hands can't get in, you can't get your keys or your wallet or anything out of there? So frustrating. I can see why the Hulk is angry. So sadly, that job was out. So I had to go to the next logical progression, which was, of course, a pest control guy. Because a pest control guy is like a low-level superhero. I'm not kidding. Because look at me. Mild-mannered comedian by night. Bold bug fighter by day. Protecting your home from the smallest of invaders. It's a good job, too. Most people appreciate you. They're so grateful that you were there, and they're happy when you're done, and they never want to see you again. Not because you're a bad guy. They always say, I never want to see you again, not because you're a bad guy, but just because, the circumstances. But you meet lots of people, and oftentimes, you'll meet people who want to help you, want to share with you. Because you're there, and you have to get in their attic, or you have to get in their crawl space, and you have to clean all this stuff out. And I remember I was having to go in the attic, we cleaned out this guy's closet, and we took out this leather jacket. And the guy there looked at the leather jacket, and he looked at me and said, oh, you're about my son's size. He won't be needing this anymore. Would you like it? And a single tear ran down his cheek. I was like, yeah, sure. Just put it by the door. I'll grab it on my way out. I still wear it. It's great. It's kind of tan. Another time, I was with my boss. We were cleaning out a crawl space, and we took this crossbow out. And the lady there was like, oh, do you guys want to just take that crossbow with you? It's my son's. He's schizophrenic. Really shouldn't be in the house. So we took the crossbow. I'm sure he still got it. You could ask him. He's here tonight, so you could ask him later. He's the kind of balding guy with the mustache. You'll recognize him. So there's another time, the greatest gift of all happened to another guy, pest control guy, who was doing work for someone who then gave him this giant sketch of a rat. That's what a pest control guy wants for sure. Spend all day crawling through muck and attics and insulation, trying to chase these dirty little vermin and kill them. And you want to come home, and open your door, and you're greeted by this larger-than-life rat. The first thing you see when you get home. It's great. Or wait, no, you could hang it over your bed, and they could haunt your dreams at night. They say, not they, some people, I heard, that some faiths, I don't know if this is true, but I was told, some faiths believe that after you die, the first thing you do in the afterlife is you face every creature that you ever wronged. And when I thought about this, I thought, the thousands of rats and millions of ants and wasps that I would have to face. I thought, do I get to face them one at a time? Because I could take them one at a time. Someone said, hey, Logan, that would take forever. That would take so long. You're talking millions? You'd be there forever. I'm dead. Where am I going? I've got time. So sometimes, though, you encounter people who are not as appreciative of what we do in the pest control industry. Environmental activists, you might call them. We have a different word, but I won't say it. But they think that we're like villains going across the countryside slaughtering innocent animals. That's not true. We're low-level superheroes. Just think about it. These animal rights activists are not protecting what we're killing. They're protecting cute and cuddly animals, seals, baby lions, anything that might be a good guy in a Disney movie. No one's out there picking signs, save the fleas, no more pesticide. Doesn't happen. You've never seen it, have you? No one's out there protecting rats. These dirty little guys busting your house, stealing your food, crapping everywhere. No one's protecting these guys. bed bugs, the greatest villain of them all. No one's going, bed bugs need a home too. You could share your bed with a bed bug. Doesn't happen. Nobody says that. Because you can have the most earth-loving, kind, environmental person in the world. The kind of person that when they get a spider in their house, rather than squish it like a normal person, they use persuasive language and gentle tones to coax it into an adjoining room specially designated for spiders. Because it's too cold to go directly outside. This same person gets bed bugs. They're like, kill everything. Do whatever it takes. I don't care if I can never go back. And so we burned their house down. It's the only way we can offer a guarantee. But you know, sometimes the animal rights, they say they want equal rights between humans and animals. I'm not sure this is true. Just think about it. Humans, we got a lot of privileges, a lot of rights. We also have responsibilities. We can't do whatever we want, whenever we want, wherever we want, however we want. We've got to do things by a certain code. Animals don't live this way. Even dogs. People like dogs, right? There's lots of dogs around. They get along with humans very well. But have you ever seen someone walking their dog outside? They're walking along, and they're like, I gotta go to the bathroom now. And they take a leak, or worse, right in your face! I hate it, it's disgusting. Okay? Can you imagine if I did that? Just walking along with my buddies, see a fire hydrant, take care of business, go along my merry little way. Cops sees me doing that, I could get arrested. That's not equality. You want equal rights between dogs and humans. Dogs have got to get arrested for urinating in public. Either that or they got to let me do it. Something's got to give. Now, I'm not an unreasonable person. If we made it so dogs couldn't urinate in public, we'd have to do something for them. We'd put up conveniently located washrooms, porta potties, doggy potties, as it were. And we put them all in the same sorts of places, public places, parks, things like that. And just like the human ones, we'd keep them locked 9 months out of the year. Can you imagine if you had like an outdoor function, like a concert or something, and you have all the porta potties there? You gotta have the men's porta potties, the women's porta potties, the men's dog porta potties, the women's dog porta potties. You gotta have different doggy potties for big dogs and little dogs. There'd just be potties everywhere. And the seating would have to just be on top of the potties. That's just how it is. You got to be careful, you don't want to fall through. So the problem would be then all the lines everywhere. You have this huge line for the women's potties, and this huge line for the women dog potties, and this huge line for the men's dog potties. You know, would there be a big line for the men's dogs? Would there? Probably not. Right? I never really considered the different feelings and thoughts towards bathrooms between men and women until I got married. And I was on my first road trip with my wife in a black car with no air conditioning. And we stopped at a gas station, and I went to the bathroom. And I came back from the bathroom, and my wife said to me, was the bathroom any good? I said, what? I said, is the bathroom any good? I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm at a gas station bathroom. I am not sticking around long enough to find out if it's any good. I'm trying to get in and out of there in a single breath. The only occasion where I'm going to spend enough time in a public bathroom to find out if it's any good is when I have to sit down, which I avoid with all my effort. But when it does happen, and all the stall doors are closed, and you have to just walk down the aisle, making eye contact with every person through the little cracks until you find an open one. But you know, there is something in the animal rights world that I don't think people are fighting for hard enough, and I am part of the problem. And it's chicken wings. Chicken wings is a problem. Because chicken wings are excellent, okay? They're just the right size. You have a perfect ratio of sauce to meat in every bite. They come in all kinds of flavors: barbecue, hot sauce, dill pickle, honey garlic, beef flavor. I've had beef flavor wings. If you ever had a flavor, they've got it on a chicken wing. Okay? But that's not the problem. The problem is the price. Sometimes on wings nights, they're so cheap. For $5, you can eat the wings off of 5 chickens. Think about this. I sit down for dinner. Next thing you know, there's 5 chickens with no wings walking around. It's terrible. Do you have any idea how hard it is to pick up chicks with no wings? It's impossible. Can you imagine the chickens afterwards? They're hanging out with the other birds and they're like, "Oh man, what happened to you? You got no wings." It's like, "Oh, the humans chopped my wings off, put them in barbecue sauce, and then ate them." And the bird's like, "Oh man, that's terrible. You can't even fly now." Chickens. I couldn't really fly before anyways. And that's the sickest thing. We're taking a flightless bird, chopping its wings off, and just eating those? Don't chickens have it hard enough? Don't we mock them enough? We've got a dumb little dance to mock a chicken. There's no reason to do that dance except to mock a chicken. There's not. Just try to think of any good reason. There's not. You'll never think of it. You'll spend the whole rest of your life and you'll just be like, "I've just been making fun of chickens." I am. And when we're hanging out and someone's too afraid to do something, they're like, "Hey, are you chicken, bro? Are you chicken?" And it's not like there's any honor in it. It's not like it's an ostrich or something. That's a big bird. Maybe, like if it was an ostrich, you could like fight the ostrich. And if you won, you got to eat its wings as a badge of honor. Vegetarians are going, "Man, this guy is crazy." But that's a big bird. I could fight an ostrich, and I could lose, and I would be fine with that. That's a big, scary bird. But a chicken, it's so little. Can you imagine if I fought a chicken and lost? Like that chicken would go down in history. He'd be the great Logan slayer. But me, I would also go down in history. I would be the laughingstock that whenever the chickens were hanging out, and one of them was too afraid to do something, they'd be like, "Oh, are you Logan? You're too Logan, aren't you?" Yeah, it's crazy too. Like chickens, they have wings, but they can't fly. Did they just, one day they're like, "You know what? We've had enough. United Airlines is just too hard to deal with. We're not flying anymore." Was it like that? Or was it something that slowly, over time, they just got lazy and then they evolved to the point where the wings didn't function anymore? They just became obsolete. There's lots of obsolete things out there. One of them, I think, is an obsolete thing. You see these cheese graters? You know the box grater, 4 sides that can stand up on its own? It's got 1 side for grating cheese and 3 sides for no one knows what the heck those sides are for. Sometimes you have like a big slicer thing, but there's always at least 1 spiky side that just looks like someone took a screwdriver from the inside and just punched holes. Just punching holes from the inside out. Right where on the side where you should have like silicone grips or something where you can really grab that block so you can really grate the cheese, there's spikes! So you go to grab it and you get jammed! And you get blood in your cheese! I can hear some people relate to this. It's terrible. But maybe, a long time ago, before pest control guys, there was a purpose for this. And that was you'd be grating your cheese, and you'd see a mouse. And you whack them with the spikes. Maybe that's what it's for. But yeah, there's other things that have gone obsolete. The video store, it's pretty much gone. The internet took care of that. You know what I think is next? The Postal Service. Because what do? They take letters, and take 2 weeks to bring them from one place to another place. What is the internet even for? Just like that, same message, exactly the same, it's already there before you're even done pressing send. It's there already. They say that they deliver packages. I'm not convinced. Because I don't get delivered packages. I always get these notes that say, sorry, we didn't feel like delivering your package. Come pick it up. Now, I had one time where I had recently moved, and I had not yet updated the address on my ID. And I was like, no big deal. I've got the slip. It's got Logan D. Smith on the slip, Logan D. Smith on the ID. I'm going to go to the post office, get my package. But I get there, and Lay's like, no, I'm not going to give you your package. You need another piece of mail from the same address because your addresses don't match on the ID and the slip. You need like a bill or something to prove that you live there. Well, I have the slip. How did I get the slip? It's like the slip doesn't count. You need a bill or something. I'm paperless. I have never received a paper copy of a bill in my life. The only thing I get in the mail is the postcard from the dentist, and I went to the dentist 3 weeks ago. I'm not due for 5 months to get another postcard. She's like, sorry, if you don't come up with another piece of mail to prove you live at that address within 15 days, we're going to steal your package. It's like, hold on, let's back up a little bit here, lady. Who do you think I am? I know where every Logan T. Smith lives on the Lower Island. And I just wait outside the house, waiting for one of these slips to come in the mail so I can steal your packages. Sometimes there's good stuff. That's what I do. And the lady's like, yeah, that's pretty much what I think you do. She's like, you gotta come up with some other piece of mail. I can't. It's too late. By the time I sign up for paper bills, they're not going to get here in time. And so I went home and I was really thinking about it, and I decided that I would do this. I went out and I bought one of those envelopes with the little windows. And I went online and I printed off a fake bill and put it in that envelope. I brought it, and she couldn't tell the difference. I got my package. It's great. You know, to be honest, even my dentist is paperless now. We don't get postcards anymore. It just sends you an email. So is there anyone here who just loves going to the dentist? By applause? No? Oh, we've got one psychopath in the room. The dentist, going to the dentist doesn't bother me so much in general. I just lie there and open my mouth and just let them do what they got to do. They're like, do you want this? I'm like, I don't know. Is it a good idea? They're like, of course it is. All right, sure, whatever. I'm already lying here. I'm not going to fight you. But there are a couple things. One is the flossing. At home, I floss every day. I brush, I floss, I mouthwash. Okay? I go to the dentist, and they go to floss you, but they warm me up with those tiny little spears and implements of torture. Just jab your gums over and over, and then they floss you very rough. And then you bleed. They're like, you must not floss because you're bleeding. I say, I do floss every day, but not like the Hulk. Come on. And I go, okay, lady, listen to this. I'll switch you places. You lie here, I'll floss you, and we'll see if you bleed. I say that here, but when I'm at the dentist, I'm too afraid. So I got that crazy chair, and I'm just worried that some sci-fi straps are going to come out. I'm going to be stuck there. I'll just keep flossing me until all my teeth just come right out. And then they'll charge me to put them back in. Someone says, yeah. Maybe that story's actually true. But the next thing, too, is at the end, is the fluoride rinse. Are you familiar with this? It's a mouthwash, but it's special mouthwash. It's not like the mouthwash that you buy and use at home. It comes in 2 flavors at least. They've got rotten berries and mint they had just used to clean the toilet. They got these 2 flavors, and you got to squish it for 30 seconds, and then you spit it out, and then you spit it out, and then you spit it out. And you're not allowed to swallow it, or rinse it out, or eat anything, and it's just there, and it makes you just want to puke, but you can't puke because it rinses out the fluoride. You know, I need to keep going to the dentist because I have a problem. I'm a candy addict. I'm recovering. You see, Easter's the last candy holiday all the way till Halloween. There's no candy holidays in between, so I'm recovering until Halloween. I have a small stash. Once I'm out, I'm not buying any more until Halloween. And it's tough. It's a tough addiction because no one's out there trying to help you. Right? There's no AA groups for candies. There's no Candies Anonymous. There is, but they give you candy. It's the opposite thing. And like smoking, that's a hard addiction. I've never tried it. I don't actually understand it, but I know that it's difficult. But there's things you can do. You can get the patch. You can get nicotine gum. Gum! That's a gateway candy! Can't chew gum! So I just have to keep rocks in my pocket. Whenever I have a craving, I just suck on a rock. It doesn't help. But at least I'm doing something, right? I'm going to tell you about when I realized I really had a problem. It's a short story, so the punchline's going to come up maybe sooner than you're expecting. But it's there. I went to go brush my teeth. And I picked up my toothbrush, and I saw a small green chunk. And upon closer examination, it was juju. And I thought, lime flavor. I just brushed my teeth. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Becca. Have a good night.